Welcome guys to Good Game Grabs, the channel where we focus on 80s and 90s retro thrifting, video games, and just general culture. If you guys have watched us before, you know that we focus mainly on just finding things for our own collection, but we also focus on selling things to fuel our collection. So if you want to get some tips from us as beginners, stick around. Now, if you guys watched the last episode, you saw that we already have an antique ball booth, which does pretty okay for its second month in. We're really happy with it. Zesty and I have worked pretty hard on it to get it the way that it is, though. So with that being said, we could give more tips for that in another episode, but today we're going to be focusing on the eBay side of things. So essentially what happened is when we started going thrifting, and even before this channel even became a thought, was that we noticed we were finding stuff that was valuable, but it really didn't maybe either fit in our collection or, we just knew it was valuable, and we were coming across sort of the same things at each thrift store that we would go to. So it just made sense for us to sort of slide into the eBay and antique mall booth sort of atmosphere. So what happened is we basically started fueling our own collections. Like the games that you see behind me, a lot of those were fueled from reselling and selling stuff in our antique mall booth. So we want to provide you guys with the information that we have learned along the way, so it can help you out if you're a little apprehensive about selling on eBay, or maybe you just started like we have. I mean, we've only been doing it for about maybe 5 months now, and I'll give you guys sort of an overview of stuff as we go along, these little tips. I'm just gonna start big with the most important piece of information that I learned and really did not find out until later on. It was just more by happenstance, but that's gain knowledge. Gain all the possible knowledge that you can, because it's going to help you in the long run identify items that are A, worth your time, and B, just valuable, just, even looking at it. And basically be really conscious of incoming and outgoing trends as well. Watching other YouTubers is huge. When we first started out, shout out to a couple different guys like Harry Tornado and Cincinnati Picker, Tendo. Those are like 3 channels that Zesty and I watch all the time just to get an idea of stuff that's valuable. Obviously you'll have your own knowledge before you start this journey, or if you're in the middle of this journey, which will give you an idea of what is valuable. Like, for instance, I used to play paintball a lot, so I know what paintball guns, paintball markers rather, carry value and which ones don't. Just stuff like that. But you can of course apply that when you're at the thrift store, right? If you're really into baseball, you can go over to the sporting goods section and pull out a baseball bat that's worth 70-80 bucks, and you'd be like, oh sweet, this is $3, awesome. So I think that any possible way to gain that knowledge, whether that's talking to people, heck, I mean, you could go to the thrift store. Like, if you wanted to learn more about DVD reselling, you could go and just literally scan with your eBay app. You guys have seen us do it a million times. Not going to explain it here right now, but scan every single DVD at the thrift store and just be like, okay, well, now I know that either this brand is valuable generally, or specific DVDs are valuable, and you can pick those up for dirt cheap and flip them and then fuel your own collection. For an example of knowledge really helping me is when we went to a garage sale early on. I had noticed that there was, a couple like big bins of CDs, quite a few. And the first CD that I picked up, I was like, oh wait, I know this general artwork, and it was the band Tool. And they generally have more like obscure sort of, like cover art and stuff like that. It doesn't say Tool. This is Tool really big, right? But I knew what it was. And so when I got to the car, I think I paid like 25 cents for it because it was like 4 for $1 for the CDs. But it was actually a DVD CD combo, but it ended up being like 65 or 70 bucks, and that's what I sold it for on eBay. And just, you could tell that because it sat though on top of like the big bin, that people had gone by it and had looked at it and were like, I don't know what this is, because it doesn't obviously say what band this is or whatnot, so I'm just gonna pass over it. Like, it was definitely one of those things where I didn't have to dig for it. It was just literally sitting on top, and I'm sure people had been passing by it because that garage sale in particular had been going on all day. Okay, so this next one is pretty big, and I can't stress this enough as well, and that's to package your items well. It's really huge. Early on, I was just using bubble mailers to send out video games, and I finally got some feedback from somebody. Luckily, it was positive feedback. He could have definitely put it as negative, but what they said is that the bubble mailer had been destroyed and the case of the game had also been destroyed. The disc was fine, so that was sort of the saving grace, but still, it really made me feel like, okay, I gotta step up my game with how I ship things. If you guys are interested, leave me a comment below, and I'll actually do some videos where I pack up stuff that we do sell on eBay. I don't want to stray too far away from, you know, what this channel is actually about. But with that being said, a big thing of bubble wrap off of Amazon or eBay is super cheap. I get cardboard for games. For example, I'll sandwich cardboard in between, or you know, on the outsides of a game, and then use bubble wrap in between to sort of add that extra layer of protection. Because now, in my mind, that same issue that happened with those cheap bubble mailers will not happen again, and I want to keep my 100% positive feedback on eBay. All right, so the next tip is one for money saving. And if you guys do scale your eBay reselling a lot, you know, if you get a store, you get a massive store, you're really going to want to cut, you know, not cut corners, but, you know, get those savings wherever you can. And when I first started, I was going to USPS and just like printing out on their little kiosk, like the shipping and stuff. And it was costing me way too much money, especially because I was offering free shipping with games, and it just didn't make sense financially. And that's why I ended up using bubble mailers, like cheap bubble mailers, by the way. So like I was trying to cut costs and it just wasn't working out. However, I highly, highly recommend using the integrated eBay shipping because it's gonna save you money and it's just super easy. I also recommend going on eBay or Amazon and buying yourself a little thermal printer. It's going to pay for itself in the long run in just convenience, because you're going to be able to package your own stuff in-house and put a label on it and just make drop-off super simple, super easy. And again, they're just not that expensive. If you really want to like focus, even no matter what scale that you're on with your eBay reselling, if you just focus on it being like a business, you're gonna look at that as a business expense, and it's just gonna make sense for you to do it. This next tip may seem a little bit obvious, but that's keeping track of your time. And I honestly have come across things where I know I can make money on it, but is it worth my time to clean it, to list it, to ship it, etc.? So, for example, I mean, some people are gonna scoff at this maybe, but like a baseball glove, a dirty baseball glove, you find it in the bins, you know, you pay, you know, a little over $1 for it or whatever, but it's rather dirty and you gotta clean it and you gotta make it look nice in the pictures and so on and so forth. Well, is that worth your time and effort to do that just for, you know, maybe it's only a $10 or $12, you know, item? For some people, yes, that they enjoy that, you know, and they're passionate about sporting good items. Great, that's awesome. For me, I would rather do that for video games, which leads us into the next tip. So this is actually the last and final tip, but that's be passionate about what you're listing. I've heard this from other YouTubers as well, but it's so true. And I think that's why, for me, getting into video game reselling, like, if you guys know, if you guys watch the channel, I want to fuel my Sega Genesis complete inbox collection as much as I can. So I sell games from other platforms to, hopefully, soon enough, complete my Sega Genesis collection. I'm super passionate about cleaning games and bringing them back to life and making them look nice, taking nice pictures of them, you know, even playing games. I mean, I get to test games, you know, so that's also fun. I mean, you literally get to play the game and then you get to sell it for profit and use that profit to get other cool games. And it's just a great cycle. So I mean, if you're listing, say, like baseball cards, or just sports cards in general, which can be really daunting because there's a ton of different, you know, makers, there's a ton of different eras, so on and so forth. So if you're just not into even the sport, right? If you're more of a football guy than a baseball guy, you're probably going to want to gravitate towards those, you know, those football cards. So just be passionate. Otherwise it's going to feel like a grind. That's with a lot of things in life, but I really do think that it's important to just, you know, be really involved in it. You know, just don't sort of pitter patter and be like, hey, you know, I could list this, I could put time into cleaning this or making the pictures look nice. Because when I first started out, I definitely had some items where it was just like, man, that kind of, you know, drained me to list this. And then I was like, at the end of the day, I looked at the profit margin and I was like, that's not worth it to me. So that's definitely a key factor into keeping your reselling flowing. If you guys found this information helpful, please help me out by giving this video a thumbs up, maybe a subscribe if you would like. For more future content. I would definitely love to hear from you guys. If this video is something that you want to see more of, I would be glad to talk about things more in depth. Again, I'm not a seasoned seller, but I've been doing it now where I feel comfortable enough about making, you know, to make a video about it. So I appreciate y'all. And there's no affiliate links down below for any of the stuff that I had mentioned before. But if you guys would like to, you know about what brand of bubble wrap or what brand thermal printer that I use, I would be more than happy to link that, you know, if you guys want to comment down below. Until then, we appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all on the next video. See you later.